Melanin lit skin a pigment. I must be a figment of your imagination. Black and educated, laugh at degradation, class and sophistication. I've been waiting in patience to find some common places. Ooh, child, the sun gon' rise as you smile again in the morning. Again in the morning.
Just to introduce ourselves, we go by the name of the West Side Scholars. So what we basically are a youth-led network for post-secondary students within the West End of Toronto. Hopefully moving forward, we want to be able to push to be able to get through to the East End as well and just go through Toronto as a whole. So what we basically do is we're trying to provide resources, we're trying to allocate funds, we're trying to provide financial literacy as well as a few other things for students who are either entering post-secondary or students who are in post-secondary, because whether we know it or not, like once you get into post-secondary institutions, whether it be college, university, trade school, it's really a struggle going through school, especially when you're living in either community housing or you're coming from a marginalized community. It's even tougher because a lot of the resources that you may have in better funded areas aren't available to us, right? So we wanted to be able to provide those funds and provide those resources for people like ourselves. So I just wanted to tell you a bit of how we got up here. So what had happened was, so Louise told us that there was an opportunity to get a grant, and we went through the whole process. It was a very rigorous process. We've never applied for a grant before, so we never knew how hard it would actually be. So we had to write up the grant, we had to get a work plan, get a budget, and figure out what we're gonna spend the money on before we even got the money, which we never knew that we had to go through that whole process. Yeah, it's yeah, so it was a very rigorous process, but he was able to help us through every step of the way, and we were able to figure out what we want to do for people within our community as well as people in Toronto as a whole. Moving forward, coming over to this conference and looking into asset-based community development, we're able to take a lot from the past 2 days, and we're able to realize that within asset-based community development, you have to identify the assets that are already within your community rather than look for external things, right? So we realized that within our community, we are actually assets, and that's why we're here today, so we would be able to learn and we'd be able to bring back to our community so that we could teach upon others. So, adding on to that, I'm gonna pass it on to this lovely sister right here, Nasra, and she's gonna...
Hey, what's up, y'all? Okay, so I spoke to many of you guys, so you guys are my friends now. So thank you. I've spoken to many facilitators, practitioners that are doing amazing work in their communities. But there's a little something missing, okay? No offense, but offense. Learn from it, okay? So I really enjoyed Paul's icebreaker in the beginning, where he was like, you know, stand up and just to recognize, celebrate the diversity of the geography, which province you're from. So I want to quickly do a similar one. But yeah, please stand up and continue to stand if you are any of these things. So number one, serve the community you live in. All right. Continue standing if you're a racialized person or a person of color. Continue to standing if you live in a community experience economic isolation or poverty. And continue standing if you're a young person. Okay, no, hold on. No, you stand up. I'm just kidding. Okay, no, I'm just making a point because, you know, sorry. Okay, so to those who are continue standing, please come on. Join us right now.
Come to the front.
Let's go. Let's go. You two right there too, Sado and Iman, please. Come up. We all have been talking about this 3 days. The physical assets, the gifts that should have been in abundance. Because this is a party right here about ABCD, you know? We should have more gifts. And I challenge all of you guys to bring whoever you're facilitating, people within your own communities, youth that are excited and energetic and hopeful about the future, and fresh eyes to Tamarack Institute. So we have to provide that. Hopefully you guys do, and learn from Kareem, my friend. Here we go.
So first off, I really want to thank you guys all for keeping an open mind when it comes to bringing people of color into your space. And going into speaking about taking up space, Westside Scholars likes to take that challenge. We like to go into spaces where it may seem like we're not to fit in, but we solidify our place there when we go with good intention, with good heart and passion. So something like taking up space is coming to a conference where you are the diversity of this conference. And you have to serve as that template for not only for your city, but for all the communities that you serve. And not only the communities that you serve, but the communities that you're a part of. So taking up space for us means much more than just coming to a conference and telling you about our organization. It's also sitting with you guys, engaging with you guys, giving you guys an opportunity to know us, and for giving yourselves an opportunity to connect with each other on a different level, on levels where you may have not been able to outside of your comfort zone. And within taking up space, I also want to challenge you guys to not leave it just to this conference to take up the space in your own neighborhoods, but also put yourself in a position where it may seem uncomfortable at first, but with open mind and good intention, you're able to connect on a completely different platform. Going into taking up space, I would also like to say that Westside Scholars is pushing and challenging ourselves to gain access to a lot of things that our communities that we were raised in never had the opportunity to have. So things like funding for spaces, things like food trucks or providing food for certain people within the community housing that go through struggles of poverty, and educational purposes as well. So the main thing that I would like to share with you guys today is just taking up space and gaining access is the main things that we would like to build on as an organization. Thank you guys. Pass it to me.
Hi. So I kind of want to discuss this sense of the so what. I think Paul really spoke truth into power when he asked so what. I think we've kind of been cerebral these last 2.5, 3 days in regards to, okay, well, let me think back to what I have done for our community. And so someone said it really well this morning, Anissa, right? I don't forget names. Anissa said really well, it's this context of the they. And so when we speak to it, you know what, it's for us even, speaking as members of the community and as assets from our own communities, everyone standing up here today has provided their own gift and asset to a community. And a lot of the times what happens with institutions and service providers is you come from a practitioner standpoint where you assume that we all think the same, talk the same, walk the same. Everyone up here has contributed their own gift to their own community. And so when John spoke really well about welcoming to the edge, well, we've been waiting for you at the door. When you want to speak about building a new society, we've built cities without bricks and mortar. We've become financially independent without ever walking into a bank. And these are lived realities in our community. A shared story on a PowerPoint will never speak to the power of points of people who are standing before you. And so we want to speak to what this is and what the reality of this is as well. The challenge for you is to take on the revolution, as Cormac said, is to create opportunities and to take a step back and to let us as near neighbors become the salaried neighbors, not the salaried strangers. I love Luis. I've known him for a decade of my life, but I will always know him as a salaried stranger. Beyond that though, Luis is someone who's able to accept, acknowledge, and move forward from that privilege and say, you know what, this isn't my capacity. You are the ones who have gone through this experience. No more talking to, for, and with people. We are the by, and we are producing a byproduct for ourselves. And so I think it's really important when we speak truth into power for people and what we've done in communities, is to have young people like ourselves take up a space. Cormac said it so well, we're young people have promise. And promise only comes into fruition when we have communities holding hands together and doing the work together. so I really want to caution. There's still more. There's still more. There's still more. I'm so humble. I'm humble. So I think for us, it's the opportunities to come back in these spaces as paid facilitators, paid educators, to formalize this concept of what we've known historically, ancestrally, as asset-based community development. When we speak, and institutions speak about inviting us to a table, the change and creation my community has made was never at a table, it was always sitting in circles. So what I ask you to do is to take a step back from the table that you've built of your own design, of your own choice, of your own input. And let me invite you into our circle, into our association, and let us speak to you about what we need. And so I really want to end off on a powerful quote. A lot of the times when we talk about Black academics, we don't think about the men and the radicalization and the revolutionary as a quote. And so one of my favorite quotes is a quote not dug deep in, and I think it speaks well to the point that what you have is only at the surface. And what we can build and what we can discover, not deliver. Mandates are only as far as the capital dollar. What we show you here through Westside Scholars is that there are a group of young people who live in the fringes but have educated themselves and are saying, well, you know what? Speak power to truth. No more will institutions take my capital and my fiscal. No more will they speak for me. I speak well for myself. And so a quote I think a lot of times is taken out of context, and my favorite quote by a radical man himself, who had to look back into himself and realize that sometimes the answer is through love. And so the quote's shortened, but I'll read you the full one and give you the context. And so we declare our right on this earth to be a human being, to be respected as human beings, to be given the rights of a human being. On this earth and this day, which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary, by Malcolm X. And so what I want to do to the institutions, and for all you who go back to the space where you feel kind of boxed in when you're supposed to be a circle or a triangle or whatever shape you want to take form, is we invite you to support this declaration and to bring to existence our revolution in any capacity you can. So thank you so much for listening to us speak.
That's all, folks.
The man is a checker, Mr. Charlie is a shortstop, and then it's a conspiracy.
Amen, my brother.
Center field and catcher.
Say what?
Amen and right on. Now that takes care of the outfield.
Right on, amen.
So where is the conspiracy?
Between my brother and the man.
Born in the summertime, but my soul is so autumn, auburn bearded, freckles face and a looking smile. Where's the meaning, feeling something like it's been a while. Jazzing a little bit of hip hop, my nostalgia, my manners. We in living autumn now. Oh, child, the sun gon' rise as you smile again in the morning. Again in the morning. Melanin lit skin or pigment, I must be a figment of your imagination. Black and educated, laugh at degradation, class and sophistication. I've been waiting impatient to find some common places. Oh, child, sun gon' rise as you smile again in the morning. Again in the morning. It really got me thinking. Last time I was children, mulatto was got no privilege. Coming from poppies drinking. I wish the world was colorblinded. Wealth was equally divided, and we never engaged in violence. Open-minded, your mind is your greatest weapon. Don't be blinded by the oppression inflicted due to complexion. You vibrant, brilliant, resilient, and stylish. Oh, child. The sun gon' rise again in the morning.